Welcome to Frequencies of Well-Being, the Philip Stein video podcast, a space for exploring ideas about natural frequency technology, mindfulness, and embracing your best self.
Welcome everybody to another podcast of Frequencies of Well-Being. And today it's going to be a fantastic show. It's going to be really exciting for those of you who are athletes, who love to work out and who train and who live an active lifestyle, because we are joined by triple jump superstar Christian Taylor. Christian is a two-time Olympic winner. He is a four-time world champion, and he is a seven-time Diamond League winner. And on top of that, he's also a Philip Stein ambassador for the past 3 years. So welcome to the show and welcome to the podcast, Christian. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Will, for the phenomenal intro. You hit it all. Happy to be here.
Thank you. You have so many titles, so it's hard for me to remember.
Well, you hit it right on the head. Well done.
Perfect. Where are you now?
I'm now in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay. So, Christian, tell us, because with the current situation now, it's getting a little bit better, but with the situation being locked down in the houses and with the quarantine, it must be extremely difficult for an athlete like you, because you have a daily routine, you have your training, you have your meetings with your coach, you have your food habits, your mental training, and all of that. So how did you cope with that during this time?
Yes, I think this is something, it's very unique because it's something we can all relate to. And it has actually been quite difficult for many of us. Stress levels were almost at an all-time high, anxiety, almost the questioning of the unknown. When will we get through this, and what will happen? What will happen with the economy? What will happen with our schools? What will happen with sports? So many questions that we all face. And in particular, for me, this year was special because it's the Summer Olympic Games, and this was something that I didn't just work for the last 4 years, but it is something that I've had my eyes set on. Saying I'd like to be 3-4-time Olympian, and this was the year that I was going to try to go and fight for another gold. But with the postponements to next summer, there have been a lot of changes in my training, a lot of changes now in the preparation, getting prepared for next year, but also in the day-to-day. I now am preparing to be married, in October, and my fiance is in Austria now with the European-US travel ban. I'm distant from her. I'm distant from my family because I want to be safe and respect the social distances. And so it's been really like the carpet has been pulled from under me, but this is also a beautiful time to be a living testimony and speak on the technology of the Philip Stein bracelet, watches.
Tell us about how the technology has affected your life. I see when you train, you wear the sport bracelet. When you go to a championship, you wear the sport bracelet. When you go to sleep, I assume you wear the sleep bracelet, and during the day, I see you wearing the watch. How has it affected you, the technology?
Yes. So for me, it is hit home from the very beginning. As I said, I could be a living testimony because from the very first moment that I got to try the sleep bracelet, I became a believer because the evidence spoke for itself. I was finally able to really fall asleep quickly, to reach a deep. I felt like I finally reached the REM cycle. Like I finally got to the point of actually just not having the rushing brain and trying to prepare for the next day. And I'm a big visual person, and so I always like to visualize what the next day will bring and what I can do for my training. And finally, I was able to just turn this off. And for me, then I bought in. As you said, I always compete. I always train with the sport bracelet, and this is really important for me because again, in this moment, I need to have this tunnel vision. I need to be focused. I need to really put my energy and my efforts towards the goal, which is getting into the best shape of my life, but also actually producing the best version of myself. And in athletics world, this is that 1%, that small percent. When you're fighting amongst the elite, it is these little percents that will differentiate you to being the best in the world. And so, for me, this is my competitive edge. And as you said, I'm constantly traveling or going through, the days now, especially with the Zoom, wearing the watch. And this is the thing that helps with the increased stress, the increased anxiety that I spoke about before. This has been a very good way the frequency has kept me calm, has kept me relaxed. This doesn't mean that I don't get excited and I don't have the emotions, but when I would feel eradicated and when I would feel out of control, this watch, and for me, I really feel a special connection with the traveler watch, because I'm traveling constantly, and in those moments of where's my suitcase, when it's check-in, for me, this is just, it's comfortable, but also a lifestyle of just staying calm.
And by the way, just to let you know and let our listeners and viewers know, we just now got approval for a publication of the last study that we did on our watches. And it's going to be published in the scientific journal called Brain and Behavior.
Fantastic.
So this is, it's of course a fantastic testimonial from you to hear how the technology has helped you. But for us, it was very important also to get some scientific validation. And that's what we have with the watches, and we have it with the sleep bracelet. Now, sleep is obviously a very, very important part for athletes, right? So I remember you told me once the story when we sent you the bracelets first, and Beate, who is your fiancée, who is also an Olympic athlete, you and her, you tried the bracelet. Tell us the story, how that worked out.
Yeah, so this was very unique. And this is when we became believers from the first night. We got a sport bracelet and we got a sleeping bracelet, and I took the sleeping bracelet, she took the sport bracelet, and again, I had the best night I can remember. And I woke up and I couldn't wait to review and speak to her about her amazing night. And her was the exact opposite. She said that she was really in working mode and she was so focused and actually had clearer thoughts, but could not settle, and I was so confused. Then we switched and we had the exact same response. For like, she had a beautiful night and I could not find a way to find this piece. And then I realized actually the importance of the disc behind these items. I really saw now there is technology. It is not a gimmick. It is not, we lived it, we felt it. And so then, yeah, to be honest, we were fighting for the sleep bracelet because, we said, okay, as an athlete, we know how important this is and we want this, but then we also knew actually how important and how actually significant the training bracelet, the sport bracelet can be, because we thought if we could just have clear thought, if we had a good way of just staying focused on the task at hand. So if that is pushing the weight, if that is running a faster time, we were able to just find and lock into that. And we thought that was beautiful. So really just being able to be really living testimonies and share that, there's nothing greater than word of mouth. And of course, having the certification is great, but I can say, and Beate can say, we've tried it, we felt it, and there's not a night I can sleep without it. It's not even a question.
Okay. Let me go back to the Olympic Games of 2020, which were supposed to happen actually right now. I think in next month, right?
Correct. Next month. Yeah. Our Olympic trials would have been, in next week.
Next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that must have been a very, very difficult time for you, or specific difficult event when you heard that the Olympic Games were not going to take place this year, because obviously every athlete, that's what they train for life, to get to the Olympics. You already won 2 Olympic championships. Now a third one, of course, you're motivated to win this as well. So you trained already for it, and you were already in the mental mode for the Olympic Games, and then that happened. How do you stay motivated?
Yes. So For me, it's really ties to what do you love? Why am I doing it? And I truly love what I do. I truly love what the sport has given me. And there is actually a surreal feeling to be at Olympic Games, to go and represent something greater than yourself. And I will be very honest. I was very sad, very hurt when the announcement came out that it would be postponed, because it is a dream. It really is. Though I've done two before, though I've had great success, there's almost none greater than the next. And we've spoken about this in years past on how is my preparation, how is everything going, and is it lining up for the end goal being Tokyo 2020, now Tokyo 2021. So the time and dedication that I put in, to get to this point, and what it means to me. But at the same time, the finish line has just moved back. It is not that it has been taken away, and that drive and that fire cannot dwindle because the finish line moved back. It is now, you just reset the gauge, and you work towards that. I have an amazing team and amazing support around me. I always talk about how important it is to have people that continue to lift you up, continue when you're down, when you're shocked, when you don't know, that they just continue to speak life and speak positive words into you and into what you're doing. But I really love what I do, and I cannot wait for 365 days to be in this position that I can go and try to defend a title.
Great. Everybody is right now, on video chats and Zoom and all of this. But for an athlete, you have to have your coach next to you normally. How do you do that? Do you record yourself and then you send the recording to your coach and he comments, or how does it work?
This is a very good point. So we had to be very creative from the start, as parents have been, becoming now teachers at home,
Right.
and without curriculum. So we've all had to bring work home, bring school home, and to coach home. It's been very different. But there have been a lot of virtual training. And to be honest, I've been so lucky because I've been with my coach for now 10 years. And so we know each other quite well. He can tell me the warm up, he can tell me the workout, and I can give him feedback. We've got great dialogue, great communication. And so because of that, we have been able to get through this period. But to be honest, it is also very different, and I do need to stress that it is very different than the typical training. I'm used to jumping. I'm used to having them 2 feet away and to be able to see every movement and to give me that feedback, which is so important, especially in my event. And the fortunate part is we don't have the Olympic Games. So the stress of being ready by a certain time, we don't have that now, and so we're doing our best to stay fit, to stay in shape, of course, to stay healthy. But we also want to do our part, and respect the social distance. We want to do our part because our actions don't just affect our community, but it affects the world, and so we want to be responsible and do what we can. And we all understand that things just look a little bit different now.
And you just mentioned all your regimen to stay fit and in shape, but it's not only for athletes. Everybody, especially now when we're in quarantine and we can't just walk out and do our workouts and go to the gym and all of this. So I'm reading more and more reports and more articles where people say, "Oh, I got fat," and or other people say, I don't live as healthy anymore. So I'm sure our viewers and listeners would love to hear from a superstar athlete like you. Give us like 3 things which you think are really crucial for anybody at home, and it's easy to do and easy to stay fit.
Yeah.
3.
My top 3 things. I love jumping jacks. It's a fun cardio. Jumping jacks, or even jumping rope. That is a great way. You feel like a boxer in that moment, and that is a nice way to get the heart rate up. Doing some core, and incorporating the legs with it, so you can get lower core. The upper, the beach body core. As I say, doing the sit-ups and things like this. And then outside of that, my favorite but least favorite thing is the burpees. Just jumping up and going down into that push-up position, extending the legs, chest to the ground, and then jumping back up again. Unfortunately, it never gets easier, but it is a guaranteed way of getting fit. It's staying in shape, and to be honest, it's just a lot of fun. You can, a baby can essentially do it, and then you could do it to an old age. And so I just enjoy exercises like that. You can get the whole family involved.
I think burpees are the ones which most of the people hate, including me.
And that's one thing we can all relate to then.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me about your regimen in terms of food. What do you eat in order, because you need to have the strength.
Correct.
Did you lose weight during this time now?
Yes, so this was actually, again, a difficult time even with this area, because to be honest, I was initially very fearful of even doing grocery shopping. I didn't want the extra exposure, and I knew the risk lied there. I didn't want to be touching the shopping carts, and so actually my protein consumption and my weight dropped about 5 pounds in the first maybe 6 weeks, and I'm naturally a skinny person, and most people would say, yeah, that's good, but for me, actually, it was not. I felt my energy dropped. I did not feel the strength that I was accustomed to, and my coach immediately told me to start having the protein powder and trying to get this back, just kind of even things out, because again, it's just such a fine line of what we need to improve, and how you don't want the fluctuation of the body, because you have hormone production that is affected, and there's so many things that go into it. But we to have this drop, and I wasn't depressed, but I just was not grocery shopping. I was not doing getting my normal intake, and to be really honest, I love salads, and so I would have a nice breakfast, and then lunch and dinner was salad, though I was still burning the high calories, and so I just wasn't getting everything I needed. And so once I incorporated the protein shakes, it made a big difference. And then I started having fun with this, making smoothies and finding alternatives. But now that I've got the mask and I've got my gloves, and I feel a bit more prepared and armored up to go grocery shopping, my weight has come back, and I'm feeling a bit better now.
Great. We covered now exercise, and we covered nutrition, but according to Harvard Medical School, in order to have a wholesome well-being and a very good overall well-being, there are three factors, which is of course the food with the nutrition, as I mentioned, the exercise, sleep, which we already covered as well. But I believe there is another factor, which is the mental part. So since our program is called Frequencies of Well-Being, any thoughts are frequencies. And the way we think, that's the way we also are going to be. So what do you do in order to keep your mental stability? Because I think many people have an instability right now, and maybe in the future we're going to see even more mental instability as an effect or of the trauma that people took from this situation which we're in right now. So how do you keep mentally stable and motivated and looking always forward, being happy?
Right. Yeah, I actually, and it's good you bring this up, because we just came off the wave of Mental Awareness Month, and people really understanding that this can either be the silent killer, or things that is just not being discussed. People are suffering, or people are troubled, and it's not being brought up. It was not really recognized as being important, and people were saying dust it off or brush it off and keep going. But in reality, that does complete the circle. That does complete the circle of wellness. And so, because I understand this, and this is something that my parents have stressed to me from the very beginning. I grew up in a very spiritual home, and I'm a part of actually two different Bible study groups, and for me, it's very powerful, because one is an athlete Bible study group, and the other one is just friends from my church, but both are all men group, and the reason we have it like this is because we want to be in a place that men are sometimes not comfortable with just being vulnerable, and they have to be seen as being macho and strong. But this is an environment and an atmosphere that we can say, hey, I'm struggling. Hey, I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good father. I want to be a good friend. And I don't know how to do this. And so it's been such a great growing environment, but also just to be there for your brother, for your neighbor, has been great. And again, to just be able to say that I'm not in a good place. Can you help me? Can you give me a shoulder to cry on? Can you help me, pick me up? And so just finding, a ground, something to stand on. And sometimes that is your neighbor, and so that really has helped me with the mental standpoint.
And these study groups are through Zoom, or are they interpersonal?
No, yeah, oh, completely. Yeah, we we don't see each other for sure. But
Everything
so
is Zoom.
everything is Zoom. Yeah. So, we sometimes the church one, we'll have some fun, and everyone kind of will get like a coffee, and we'll pretend that we're at a cafe, where everyone's drinking their coffee together. And the other one is, I mean, there are people, today we met, and there's a guy in Arizona, there's a guy in California, we're really Texas, we're all spread out. So,
I see.
but that is the beauty of now, the digital world that we live in.
Well, talking about the digital world, there are, for example, in Europe, there are sports events happening, soccer, etc., but all with empty stadiums.
Right.
Now,
Right.
you've been on the podest of the Olympic Games, and you know how it feels, the cheers of all the, spectators and all of that. Could you imagine performing, in front of an
Yeah.
empty stadium?
That's very weird. And once they wanted Tokyo 2020 to go through, they said, "Would you be okay with a virtual stadium? With an empty stadium and
Right.
people just streaming in?" And I thought that, what about the adrenaline? What about the cheers? What about the emotions? What about the interactions with the crowd? Now we're just talking about, to be really honest, something completely different. What is sport without the fan?
Exactly.
What is because in these moments, the kids that are sitting in the stands will make these memories and say, one day I want to be there. What does that look like on a TV? Does that make it more like a game, as opposed to making this connection? So there are many different elements that you have to consider with this. But at this time, I understand, for safety precautions, that maybe we have to be a bit flexible, and maybe, but to think that this could be the direction of sport, that is very difficult for me to grasp, because I know the energy that I receive. I know how my heart beats when I come into a stadium, and you just hear the voices, and you get the high fives, and you just feel that energy. It's really, it is a frequency. You feel that you
Exactly.
are really just locked into something, and for that to be taken away, I think you will also see, results and things
Exactly.
be very different.
Exactly. And as you said, it's a frequency, it's a frequency which elevates you, you're elevated, you have an elevated frequency, and now you can go into, so it's going to be quite different, especially also when you think about an NBA game without any spectators, without any fans. That would be terrible.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned that Beate is in Austria. When are you planning to go back to Austria? Do you have any plans
Yeah.
already,
So
or?
absolutely. So basically, we're just waiting for the borders to open. Austria was one of the leading countries in
Right.
internally, getting the salons back open, getting the sports facilities for the elite athletes. So they were really in the front lines with this. But to be honest, because they're so centrally located, they had to open the borders around them first before they can allow the U.S. Because, to be really honest, if you've seen the case numbers, which are pretty troubling, that they are quite high in the U.S. And so once you do open those borders, there will be, that great risk of another peak or another spike. And so, this is when you have to really trust, the WHO and the people that are in place that are keeping us all safe. Because safety has to be number one. But to be honest, I'm feel like I'm at the starting line, waiting for the travel ban to be lifted, and to be reunited again.
You're going to be the first one jumping on that plane in a triple jump.
Exactly, leaping over the pond.
um, Let me go back to Philip Stein for a moment. So Philip Stein, you're wearing the watch during the day, you're wearing the sport bracelet, during your activities, during your training, and the sleep bracelet at night. So basically you have like the 24-hour well-being. Describe that to our viewers. Was it difficult for you to wear the sleep bracelet at night, because maybe you were not used to wearing anything at night, or did it just integrate into your lifestyle?
The beautiful thing, and I know there is a preference thing, but the beautiful thing for me is on top of the technology, on top of the frequency, the items are very comfortable. And for me that just makes it easier. There's some people that wear things because it looks good, but they get home and the shoes are too tight. For me, it was very easy. As I said, my fiance and I, we were fighting over the stuff. So you don't fight over something that you don't want, and so that is the benefits from the technology are great, and we've spoken about basically the three elements that make up wellness, and that's the same way we can speak about the items, the wearable items that make up the complete wellness package. The day, the active, and the night. And but for me, it was very comfortable. I felt and saw the results instantly. This was not like an infomercial that they say, give me 30 days. I felt it on day one. And so for me, it was something that I said, I don't need 29 more days. I saw it, I felt it. And even with my performance, I would not jeopardize an Olympic gold medal. I would not jeopardize a world championship, to try something, if I didn't believe in it. But I see the results, I see the improvements, I see the progress, I feel the focus on the daily training regimen. So it was very easy for me to say, now when I get to the championship and I have the added adrenaline, what can happen,
Right.
and so it was very easy to
Great.
make this my day-to-day lifestyle, because to be honest, it was very comfortable.
Have you recommended it to anyone, or have people seen you work out and ask, hey, what are you wearing, and or things like
Oh,
that?
absolutely. So I can't say I got any remarks from people seeing me sleep with it, because obviously nobody sees me sleep. But when it comes to travel, I actually, again, because I'm always wearing the travel watch, I have many pilots asking me about it because the dial is very easy to see.
Mhm,
And I could say, hey, look at the magazine. It's
mhm,
actually in the magazine right behind you.
mhm.
Um, and with the active bracelet, and anytime I'm competing, many fans are always trying to figure out how they can be like me. And so there's where can I get this? Where can I buy this? Can I have yours? And so it's really nice because I have performance. I always say, guys, there is more than just training. If your head is not in the right place, if the well-being, if you're not centered, then you can train and you can want it as bad as you want. But if the other variables are off, you're only going to get to a certain point. And so it's been great to, again, walk the walk and talk, like talk the talk and walk the walk. But to be able to just guys say, hey, that maybe that little bit you've been stuck at one point, maybe you need to factor in the wellness side, the well-being side. And then I can say, try it. If it doesn't work, come back to me. But I've never had anyone come back to me and say, it wasn't anything but amazing. I've got close friends that I've bought myself items for them because they suffered with migraines for years. And I said, try it. And they had the I believe frequency blocks under their bed and things into their inside the mattress and trying all different things. And they tried it. And the daughter called me in tears saying, after years of research and trying to, my father's migraines are gone, which obviously if
Unbelievable.
migraines, you imagine the day is just in a fog, you know,
Absolutely.
you, you're just trying to get through it. And to hear her joy, but tears of joy, thinking, wow, I just made an impact on somebody's life. That's what, for me, it doesn't get greater than that.
Fantastic. You just mentioned something very important, balance. And I think balance is really a key to also an Olympic athlete or any top athlete, because there are many people out there who just train, they want to have big muscles, bulky, and all of this. I don't think that's the key to health and well-being. So in my opinion, with our product, which promotes inner balance, which promotes, more coping with stress better, I think that's a key also to an athlete, right?
Absolutely. So, what we stress, at least my coach and I, we believe, yes, you can be big, bulky, you can be powerful, but how efficient are you with this? For me, this is the same thinking of your lifestyle. You know, you can have things, you can go places, but are you really happy? You know, and when you think of the deeper questions, when you think about your deeper purpose, for me, Philip Stein is a lifestyle. It is not a product. It is not a brand, but it is really how, what do you want out of life? How can you find and create the best version of yourself to present to the world, but also to get the most out of you, you know? And so for me, I felt like I was shortchanging myself thinking one day I want to be an Olympian when the lifestyle and the brand of Philip Stein could say, but you could be more. There's more inside you. You could be an Olympic champion, you know? And so I for me, this is really what the brand stands for. Finding and creating the best version of yourself. And you know,
Beautiful.
that is a lifestyle.
That's very well said. Christian, we wrap up usually with what we call 5 vibes in 5 seconds.
Beautiful.
And so the vibes in 5 seconds is basically, I'm going to tell you a word, I'm going to give you a word, and you can just off the top of your head, give me the association, what comes to your mind, okay? So let's start with the first word, love.
Beate.
Beate, just for our viewers to know, Beate
Yep.
is
My fiance, yes.
your fiance, which you're going to get married to in October.
October, correct.
And hopefully it will not be a quarantine wedding.
Yeah, not a Zoom wedding for sure.
Okay. Passion.
Wow. Ooh. Wow, that stunned me. Digging deep.
Digging deep. Mindfulness.
Philip Stein.
Courage.
The healthcare workers.
And let's give a big shout out to the healthcare workers.
Yes.
They've done an amazing job. And finally, happiness.
Completion.
All right. Christian, there was a very inspiring conversation I had with you. I'm sure our viewers and listeners, they loved every moment of it. They got, I'm sure, some great information regarding motivation, exercise, etc. I wish you the best of luck. Stay healthy, stay strong, train for the Olympics. We're all going to root for you. We're all going to see you with the Philip Stein bracelet on the pedestal and as the Olympic champion again.
Thank you so much, Will. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you.